You currently represent Summer Zervos in a defamation suit against President Trump. He called Summer, who was a contestant on The Apprentice, a liar for alleging that he groped her without consent at a hotel 10 years ago. When you take on someone like the President of the United States, and we know how he fights back, what is that experience like?
Well, we have to meet power with power. And the reason that we filed this case on behalf of Summer, who did make these allegations during the presidential campaign, is because when he called her a liar, when he threatened to sue her, when he said that what she said and what other accusers said was fiction and fabrication, that matters because truth matters and women matter and Summer's reputation matters, and she has been harmed economically and emotionally by being called that. So we would like to proceed with our lawsuit. The president has filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. We have filed our opposition. He's filed his reply. We argued it early December, and we're waiting for the court's decision. It could come any day, and we'll see whether or not the court allows us to proceed or grants the president's motion to dismiss. We would like to be able to proceed. We want to get to the truth. We want to take the president's deposition under oath, and let's find out who is telling the truth. You will see Summer Zervos. You will see this case in our film, Seeing Allred, on Netflix.
It's interesting, though, isn't it, that despite the allegations, and despite the fact that that tape came out, many people thought that that would torpedo President Trump's campaign. It didn't. For some reason, those people who voted for President Trump, these issues don't matter to them. Why do you think that is?
Well, there are a certain group that support the president. But we'll see whether, if we find that Summer Zervos is in fact telling the truth when she testifies under oath, if we're permitted to proceed. We'll see how people feel about the president. But we're doing this however people feel politically. This is a legal matter, women standing up for themselves. And she is the only one of all of the accusers who has filed a lawsuit. So this is a very, very important lawsuit. She's showing enormous courage to be suing the President of the United States. But the Supreme Court of the United States has said in a prior lawsuit brought by a woman, Paula Jones, against President Clinton many years ago, when she alleged she was sexually harassed, the Supreme Court of the United States said no man is above the law, including the President of the United States, for an unofficial act. So we say this is an unofficial act committed prior to his becoming president. We should be permitted to proceed. So we'll wait and see. But all of the heroines, the many women that I have represented over these 42 years, they have been transformed. We have seen women, and we see them in the film, being transformed from victims to survivors to fighters for change. And I'm so proud and honored to be able to represent them. And I hope that it will inspire and empower other women.
You never stop fighting. You never stop working. You say in this documentary you haven't had a holiday since the 80s. You try to sleep for 6 hours a night, but get by on 3. And I think people will be interested to know that this part of this fire comes from the fact that you yourself were a victim many years ago of sexual abuse and found that the world around you wasn't receptive.
That's right. I was a victim of gender violence. I was a victim of rape at gunpoint when I took a vacation in Mexico many years ago. And that, when I came back, and I didn't think anyone would believe me against the denial of a medical doctor in Mexico who was the one with a gun. So I didn't do anything about that at the time. And that's why I can understand now women who say, I didn't think anyone would believe me. That's why I didn't report it. And then I became pregnant, and it was at a time when I couldn't get an abortion legally without going through a lot of, steps. It was before the famous Supreme Court decision of Roe v. Wade in the United States. And so I had to have an abortion and by someone who was not a licensed health care provider and almost died. And that's why I am so committed to making sure that at least in the United States, we have legal, safe, affordable, available abortion. And poor women and young women and rural women should not be forced to go to back alley abortionists because they can't get one legally or can't afford to have one. My commitment to women's rights comes from my own life experience. I might add, I'm also inspired by my mother, who came from Manchester, England, to the United States many years ago. And I feel a connection also to the suffragists, the Pankhursts from Manchester, who inspired women to fight to win the right to vote in the UK. And the women here in the United States took them 75 years to win the right to vote. And we are going to continue to fight for our rights here. And I hope all over the world, women will rise up and say, we deserve to have our rights, men their rights and nothing more, women their rights and nothing less.